Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting comics loving edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. I am delighted on this episode to be talking with author, comics creator, and it looks like someone who is very much involved in the world of kickstarting from that shelf behind you, Madeleine
Um,
Holly-Rosing. Madeleine Holly-Rosing, thank you for jumping in and joining.
well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And yes, this is, part of the fulfillment center you see behind me.
Nice.
We do I think I'm on I kind of lose track sometimes. I mean, we're at my 13th or 14th Kickstarter right now.
You're a pro.
I think, yeah, I think so. One of those. Oh, I know there's people who've done a lot more, but um yeah, that's enough. I'm always admiring people who just do multiple Kickstarters a year or do Kickstarter after Kickstarter. Yeah, my brain can't handle that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
I
just,
understand. Yeah. Well, the book that we're talking about, the book series, is the Boston Metaphysical Society. You've also written some books on how to do Kickstarters that I've
yes,
found out around the web as well.
yes. I have a second edition out of Kickstarter for the independent creator.
Hmm.
Um, it was written a few years ago. So I'll honestly say the basic strategies are totally fine for today. But as far as some of the comments on regards to the platform of Kickstarter, it has evolved,
Hmm.
and I have not gotten back to update it. And it is a constantly evolving platform, and I'm always learning new things. And so, yeah, you kind of I look at other creators, I see what they're doing. I know I was surprised one time when a gentleman came to a table at I think it was Rose City, and he said, yeah, he says, I follow you for when I need to do my own updates. He goes, when I see you do your update, it's like, oh, it's time for me to do an update because Madeline's done an update. And so we're like, oh my, I thought that was interesting.
You are a
Uh,
leader. You are a trailblazer.
I guess so, but yeah, it does take some thought and a balance between, too much, too little, too many emails, not enough emails, too much promotion, little, so I'm always trying to balance that so people don't get snowblind on social media.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And keeping that audience in mind, I know is part of the process.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, for those in your audience who've never heard of Boston Metaphysical Society, in
Hmm.
short, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston.
Hmm.
We are currently on Kickstarter with our first ever hardback special edition of Volume 1. We've never had a hardback before, so this is all very exciting. We do have a volume two in paperback, which has our four standalone sequels, and we do have another mini series in production called Mystery at Pikes Peak. It's set in the same universe with
Hmm.
the first two issues out, and my artist is currently working on issues 3 and 4.
And that artist is.
Oh, she is Elizabeth McKenza, who's working on
Mhm.
Pikes Peak.
Nice,
Emily Hugh did our original 6 issue miniseries, and Gwen Tavares did our four standalone sequels.
nice. And it's a beautifully attractive book visually. I'll say the word steampunk. Is that an
Yeah,
accurate representation?
it's no, that's fine. It's pretty accurate. Though I would go more with steampunk-ish,
Yes, I like the ish. I like it.
more steampunk-ish. Because it's been interesting over the years. I've had people who say like, I don't really like steampunk, but I like yours because it's not. I guess they're not just what I found with a lot of steampunk projects. It's more about the gadgets and not about the people and the relationships.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, we have the gadgets, but it's not about the gadgets.
Yeah.
It's never about the gadgets. They're just an organic part of the world. Um, but speaking of gadgets, we do have in the new hardback. I had an artist by the name of John Kutzer, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, do what I would call some prototype diagrams from Granville T. Woods, who is our genius scientist. So you get
Nice.
to look at kind of the innards of some of the gadgets, which I thought would be fun.
Yeah, yeah, love that. And you've explored this world a good bit across multiple volumes, stories set within the world. So you've done a good bit of world building.
Yes, yes, I'm a big fan of world building. And I've also done it across mediums because I have a novel, a prequel novel, an anthology, and an audio drama
Mhm,
as well.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's been interesting doing that whole, transmedia cross platform, and it works really well. The universe works in pretty much any platform.
love it, love it. Um, Curious about that architecture, that side of the creative process. Are you a notebook keeper? Do you illustrate these things out yourself? I'm just curious how you sort of immerse yourself in that world.
I just start typing ideas and I have files of notes. I don't have notebooks just because I have carpal tunnel, so writing for long periods of time is not really an option.
Hmm, hmm.
And so I have just like little note files in folders, on my computer. And yes, I back up. I back up multiple everything.
Always.
And uh sorry, I'm listening to my dog do something. I'm not sure what he's doing right now.
That's okay.
Like, Bishop?
Are we okay?
Yeah, I think so. I know she's like he gets bored sometimes and decides like, I want to go do something here that I shouldn't
Nice.
be doing. Um, and I'm sorry, now I lost my chain of thought because I'm like yelling at my dog.
No, no, you were talking about backing things up and kind of storing them, so
Yes,
you have
and
multiple
and and
copies.
and yeah, and uh so yeah, I often when I'm starting a new project, I'll have had an idea. If it's an original idea, almost everything starts with research.
Hmm, hmm.
And particularly even if it's a freelance work, because I don't know if you know, but I'm also have written a story for Lady Mechanica
Oh, uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
for Joe
Love
and
that
Marcia.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it. It was so much fun. It's great working with them. They're wonderful people. Um, but yeah, I had to, go immerse myself in their world. And I made a point of never reading Lady Mechanica when I was first developing Boston Metaphysical because I didn't want any accidental overlap.
Hmm,
But
hmm.
by the time I, got on board with him, it'd been going on. And once I read it, I'm like, oh, this is nothing remotely alike. So I'm not worried about that at all. And just immersing myself in their world and how their characters speak and act. And uh, that's a lot of fun. And then I was asked to do a short for an anthology. It was called Holiday Spirits, the Monster Edition.
Hmm.
And so I picked Medusa. And so running through all these different, doing more research on Medusa and how that started out as a very dark story. Um, and changing it up to something that hopefully no one's ever seen before. Taking a tact uh, that's a little different. And a lot of times, what that means is you go through a whole bunch of ideas and you throw them all out.
Hmm, hmm.
And because the first ones that usually come to mind are the wrong ones,
Right, right.
because it's something that's in your head. It's already in the ether and out there, and you don't really want to repeat that. So it's like, okay, this has been done, this has been done, this has been done, this has been done. What if we turn it on its head and make
Mm,
her older and just take a whole different point of view
love that.
on it. So that's what's also been fun with Boston Metaphysical, doing the prequel novel and the short stories. I'm able to get into some of the supporting characters and take it from their point of view,
hmm hmm
which is always interesting to me. Because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, they live in this world, but they're not Caitlin, they're not Samuel, they're not Granville, and they have a really different take on what's going on. And that's what's fun about really doing the novels, the prose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, was there a particular draw connection to comics for you that sort of led you in that direction as well?
No, I fell into comics kind of accidentally
Uh-huh.
and very late in life. Believe it or not, my brother has probably the largest or the one of the largest graded collections of Daredevil comics in the United States.
Nice, nice.
But I had absolutely no interest in superhero comics. None.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't until I had written Boston Metaphysical as a TV pilot when I was at UCLA. I have an MFA in screenwriting, and I wrote a TV pilot, and someone suggested to me, why don't you turn it into a graphic novel and then sell it back to Hollywood?
hmm
So I went
hmm
back to school, learned how to write a comic, and but then a funny thing happened on this journey. I discovered I really like writing comics and I really love the indie creator community.
hmm
So I decided, this is my happy place. So this is where I'm going to stay.
Love it, love it. Now you mentioned the artists that you've worked with. I believe Troy Pateri has also been on
Troy
the
Pateri
project.
is my letterer,
hmm
and he has been with me since the very beginning. I met him, this is a long time ago, when I think it was Image Comics used to have their own convention up in San Francisco. It was a long time ago. And a friend of mine, all I had was like postcards. And because we sort of started as a web comic,
hmm
and she said, you can have my little corner of my table and just talk to people and hand out your postcards. So I said, sure. But she says, yeah, bring some scripts and stuff in case you meet people. Well, Troy happened to stop by and she pointed to him and said, like, oh, he's a letterer. He does indie comics. And he says, well, let me see one of the scripts. So I handed him one of the scripts. He starts leaving through and he goes, yeah, I'll do it. and and we've been together ever since. I can't imagine using anyone but Troy because we have a great working relationship, and he's really captured the world.
hmm hmm
And people don't really understand how important lettering is. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can have the most beautiful comic in the world, and bad lettering will destroy it.
hmm True enough.
Yeah. So I have a great deal of respect for letterers.
Yeah, yeah. Now you mentioned this is a hardcover edition. You mentioned
Yes.
that there are some looks inside some of the machines and the gadgets. Anything else that you'd like to tease up for readers as far as what they can expect?
Sure. It does have our original six-issue miniseries, which has obviously been out for quite a while. But in addition to that, and the weapons designs, we have a brand new 10-page story. It's a prequel story to the volume one with art by MJ Erickson and also pinup art that most people have never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we have some great pinup art by Carl Alstetter and Josie Macetovas and several others. So, uh, it's a lot of things that people, particularly who've come on board later, have never seen.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so I'd really tried to make it special. And of course, I mean, fortunately, we are funded, so yay for that. And but what I know a number of the stretch goals, hopefully we'll meet them, will be like to make the book more beautiful, add
hmm
ribbon, spot UV, foil stamping. I mean, the cover pretty much screams foil stamping. So we're probably going to go with that pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. Love it, love it. Anything that you'd like to mention as far as the future of the world that you're building, any creative next steps, as well as places where people can go to find out about the book, to find out about how to support the book, and the work in general.
Well, right now, obviously, they can go to Kickstarter.com,
Hmm. Hmm.
or they can go to, Boston Metaphysical Society.com, which they'll also find is queenofmercia.com. That's my corporate umbrella uh,
Nice.
for my website. Uh, I Elizabeth McKedza is just coming back to working on issues 3 and 4. She was injured late last year in an auto accident, so she's just coming back from that. Um, that's a week by week to see when that eventually is going to come out. And when I have something conclusive for people, I'll will let them know. But my other plans is I want to finish. Uh, I've started a trilogy of novels. The first novel is done. I'm partway into the second novel. Unfortunately, there was my father passed away last year, and so when that happened, basically, I everything stopped.
Yeah.
Uh, and because I was executor, so you just have to. It takes over your life,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so now all of that's just about done, so I can start coming back into the world and getting other things done. So this is my first step of coming back in the world is launching this Kickstarter.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. May the creating continue. May the Kickstarter goals be met. And looking forward to all the things that are coming in the creative universe. Anything else that you'd like to mention before we close out?
We do have some very cool incentives as part of the Kickstarter. We're doing our first ever what I call metal business cards in brass, copper, and black stainless steel. They're like special detective. They are like business cards for you
Nice. Nice. Love it.
and some other fun things.
Cool, cool. Well, Madeline, thank you for the time. Thank you for the conversation and the writing, and glad to have you back anytime.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jason.
Thanks.